Ladies and gentlemen, firstly I'd like to thank you all for coming. I know that it means that much more to Mike and Emma to have everyone here today. The bridesmaids, you look absolutely beautiful today. I wanted to wait until I was here to describe how you look, Emma, but there's absolutely no words for how beautiful you look. Yes. To those of you who don't know me, my name's Bradley. You may also know me as the other half of Quiet Poo. Mike's best man. It wasn't easy to be here today. Mike has two best men, then. Myself and Robert Hunson. Now, Mike couldn't decide which was to be his best man. So in true Mike style, he was against each other for his own amusement. We would be in a best of 7 series of games to decide who had the choice of what to do. Now there was the understanding between me and Rob that the person that won it in the speech. Unfortunately. Now it was a hard fought battle. It really was. It came down to one chicken nugget and eat. Eating contest. One chicken nugget away from a clean sweep for me. At this point, I'd like to say to you, Julie, I'm sorry. I know that I was an old boy and you would like to speak. I can't want to get a cool when it counts, so. Now, I met Mike about 25 years ago in primary school. The first thing I noticed about him, which is the same thing that most people notice about him, is the size of his head. Thankfully, since then he's grown into it. Unfortunately, he just kept going and growing. Now, I've known Mike for so long, you might be thinking, well, funny, embarrassing stories. But ever since a certain incident happened in primary school, when my head was still on the rock, my memory hasn't quite been the same. An incident, I mean that, it was playing with one of Mike's other groomsmen tonight. Until about 10 years later, when Mike admitted that he knew all about it was him. And that is the first time my mum's heard that sentence. I was stepping all along with him. Thankfully, while the memory might be not too good for you, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I'd like to introduce you to the kid that we knew as Moonhead. You'll notice that his head is the size of his torso. He also knows the Milk Bar Kid. Now, this third picture for comparison is a more recent picture of mine on the stag do. Now his head might not look so big on it until you realise what the back looks. And for those of you who know Mike and still really doesn't have a big head, try and listen to me talk about this Tony Wilson award. That was a Rob joke, that one. Cheers, sir. I spent weeks trying to think of crazy times that embarrassed Mike. Well, I soon realised just how boring Mike is.
I couldn't think of anything besides the time you were Michael, you were Stefan, you were off your fucking heads. I won't finish the rest of that rhyme. It's the same as well as Mike's. You can ask him about it later, I'm sure that's fine. Instead, Mike's more the kind of guy that can rely on after one drink at Satan's to say, feeling pretty tired. And when he gets to about midnight to say, I think it's time for gin hams in bed.
However, if you do manage to keep him out after midnight, it's a good bet that at some point he'll be sat on the curb with someone, crying his eye out, saying how lucky he is to have Emma, and how much she means to him. Now, there's only so many times a single guy can hear an outpour of love before it gets old. Because, well, Mike, you are a lucky guy. You leave here today having gained a new wife. It's beautiful, funny, loving, and it radiates kindness everywhere she goes. I know where you're looking to. You leave here today having gained a new dress and some flowers. Writing this speech, I was supposed to have words of marriage advice for a happy couple, but honestly, I don't know what to tell my parents. I've never known a couple so well suited for each other, so perfect, and I learn more about what makes a perfect relationship every time I see them together than in the months I spent writing this speech researching. That said, earlier this year around March, I was told the most important thing for long and successful marriage. And so, I'd like you all to stand. To a happy wife.